what I wanted to talk about today is obviously over the last, couple weeks, couple months, we've had tons of top producing agents on this call. So, agents selling from 50 homes a year to 1,000 homes a year. We've had one of the top real estate coaches in the world, Bill Pipes, on this call. And there are obviously a common few themes that I wanted to go over today with you guys, and hopefully you guys can take some notes and kind of write this down. Now, if you look at your business right now and your real estate career, if you could just implement one thing right now that can propel you to the next level, what would that be? So Alex Hughes, what would that one thing be today?
Sorry, can you cut out on my end? Can you repeat that one thing?
So if you could just implement one thing right now that could propel your business to the next level, what would that be?
I think really coming up with a final kind of 5-month plan to finish off the year.
Okay, 5-month plan. Cody, what about you?
Yeah, likewise, to be honest, I guess it would be, going through my previous few months, seeing what worked, what didn't work, and making that plan for the next few months to have it take off proper.
Okay, Laura, how about yourself?
I think maybe just sort of doubling down on what has been working, which is just really furthering these and nurturing the connections with people I know, just really diving into that and continuing, because it's been working great so far. And so if I've gotten the business I have with that effort, if I double down on that, what more would that bring?
Definitely. Yeah, doubling down on a source of business that's the most successful. And Nelson says more prospecting. I love that. Mark, how about yourself and Kelowna? I know you guys are absolutely crushing it right now. I can't keep up to your posts. You're posting so many sales. What's one thing that you could implement that would propel you to the next level?
I think it's just trying to remain consistent. It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day. It's obviously when things are going good and things are producing, you forget about 6 months from now. So that's what, just trying to get back to the basics and be consistent through that.
Man, that is so true. Every agent will learn that at some point in their career. I know I have. I know Alex has. You nodded his head. You get so busy and you think things are great, but you forget about the future. And then the future comes and you're like, oh shit, I have no business. Oh no, right? So I 100% agree. Now, 6 key traits and behaviors of agents that are winning, not just in the past, but they're actually winning today. So 6 key traits, and I want you guys to write this down. And hopefully we can add a couple traits to your daily life that's going to make you get to that next level. So the first one here is huge. They have a morning routine. They own their mornings. Who has a morning routine? Raise your hand. Who is specific about their morning routine? They have their mornings dialed in. It's the same every single day. They start the day off on the right foot, and they're leaps and boundaries ahead of their competition. They aren't rolling out of bed, messy hair, and onto their computer and starting their day and touching with emails and making some phone calls. They have it dialed in. So by the time 8 a.m., 8:30 or 9, whatever time they start at rolls around, they are dialed in. They're in the right mindset. Okay, so the first one is they have a really good morning routine. If you don't have one right now, that's something you might want to start, right? Figure out, get up at the same time every single morning and doing the exact same thing. Exercise is huge. How many of you guys exercise every morning? Go for a walk or a workout or something, right? And if you didn't exercise that morning, do you notice a difference throughout the day? If I don't exercise, I'm like 2 o'clock rolls around, I'm a zombie. I want to fall asleep. I want to have a nap. But if I've exercised in the morning, went for a walk, got some fresh air, it's completely different. The second thing is they never get complacent. And this is so big because you got to think of your real estate business as a business. You're not a realtor, you're running a business. Whether you be on a team or you run a team or you're an individual agent, they never get complacent. So they are always looking for ways to dial in their business and their systems, their procedures and their customer service and their technology. So they're always looking at ways to improve on little things, just small wins here and there. Their business, their systems, their procedures, their customer service, and their technology. They're analyzing what is working and what isn't working, what worked and doesn't work anymore, and they're able to shift their focus on what's working right now today. So this keeps those top agents relevant in the game. This keeps them always a few steps ahead of their competition. Remember, guys, that the market and consumer mindset is changing daily. I remember when I got into the business about almost 5 years ago, the consumer mindset was way different than it is today. especially now with the use of technology and news, access for information, the consumer mindset is already made up before you even get that phone call or before you even call that person, right? So you're always having to adapt. The message you used a month ago, a year ago, 10 years ago was completely different. Okay, so that script you use to that consumer has completely changed. Bill Pipe said it great, right? He said it great. You have to educate your client and you have to find the motivated people. It's not your job as a realtor to motivate someone to sell, motivate someone to buy. You educate them and they make their own decision. Okay, so they never get complacent. They also cut the fat. So the things that aren't working, the sources that are not profitable, that's key. You know, people keep running plays that don't work because they worked in the past. You have to keep working the plays that are working today. For example, if you've been farming for the last 3-4 years and you start to see that farming going away and you're still spending the same amount of money on those farming, but you're not getting the leads, you're not getting the business, you might want to look at getting rid of that source of business and doubling down on something that's really working, whether it be cold calling, expired online leads, etc. Right? So they cut the fat and never get complacent. The third thing is they commit to mastery of the basics. So mastery refers to having a great skill or something or total dominance over something. So the skills, remember, this is the skills-based industry. Mastery is 10,000 plus hours of a specific skill. So they have memorized their listing presentation because they practiced it over and over and wrote it over and over again. They know their lead follow-up script because they practiced it over and over. They can shut their eyes and run you through those specific scripts. They know how to convert an online lead to a client. That is key, and that's where a lot of agents fail. They can convert an online lead into a client. They have mastered the questions to ask a consumer to find their motivation and timeline. So that is a key in our job. What sets apart a really good agent from an amazing agent is their ability to convert and close a client. Have anyone heard that saying, you got to be able to close in this business, right? So the quicker you can close a client, the more successful you're going to be. If you're just showing a client 1,000 homes and you're not closing on that client on what's the perfect home for them, then you're just wasting a lot of time and energy. But if you can quickly close that client on what's the best home for them, it's the highest and best use of your time. So they know how to convert an online lead. They have mastered the question to ask a consumer to find their motivation and timeline. Now ask yourself this, guys. Do you guys have a seller pre-qualification script? Raise your hand if you have one. And can you walk through your listing presentation eyes closed? That's key. If you didn't have that listing presentation in front of you, you could just close your eyes, sit like this, and literally walk through every single page, script for script, word for word, exactly how you present to a seller. You got to master that, because when you master that, that's how you become more successful. Number 4 is they are ultra accountable. They set goals and hold themselves accountable to them. Who could use more accountability in their life right now? We could always use more accountability. So they set goals and hold themselves accountable to them. They have an accountability partner. They're consistent in their daily routine. They're committed to their daily schedule no matter what. Remember, guys, 90% of success is just showing up. And what I notice in all the mastermind calls that I'm on, especially the one that I host here, is the most successful agents are the ones that consistently show up every single day, right? So 90% of success is just showing up. Number 5, oh man, I love this one. They know how to say no. And this is so hard. Ask my wife, Courtney, how hard this was for me. They can say no to things that don't fit into their schedule, their business, their ideal client. They value their time more than anything. They use things like the do not disturb function on their phone. So you have to learn how to say no when you're going after what you really want. And this is very hard, especially when you're young or you have you're brand into the business. You say yes to everything. You'll show a client a house 3 hours away because you want that paycheck, right? You'll run around town with that buyer that wants to see 1,000 homes that's probably never going to buy, right? It's easy for you to say yes because you really want that business, but learning how to say no is the hardest part. And when you get to a point where you value your time more than anything, you will be successful, right? Otherwise, you're really just saying you don't value yourself. It's as simple as that. You really just say you don't value yourself or your time. to be the happiest you've ever been, the most successful you have ever been, and to live an amazing life, because I assume everyone here wants to live an amazing life, you're going to have to cut some ties. You're going to have to say no to a lot of things, and you're going to have to disappoint some people, and that's totally okay. So learning how to say no is one of the traits from most of the top agents that I know, is they know how to say no. They know how to say no to that client that doesn't fit in their ideal client. It's that client that they know they've dealt with that client in the past, and it was a complete negative energy, drain of energy, emotional drain. That one client took more time than the 10 other clients you've had. Who's had a client like that? Say aye. Raise your hand. Yeah. Right. And now when you meet with that person, just by talking to them, you know, okay, I've dealt with this type of personality, this person before, I can't do it again. It's not worth my time. Doesn't matter if they're going to pay me $50,000, it's not worth my time. So learning how to say no. And number 6, lastly, they are coachable. So they have checked their ego at the door. They are willing to learn from their peers, from other agents, and from their coach. So they're willing to try new things that make them uncomfortable. So they are very, very, very coachable. Okay. Now I want to add a seventh trait in there, and it's kind of overall on all 6 of them. They are ultra competitive. Okay. Have you noticed that about the top agents that have been on this call before? They're insanely competitive. You have to be if you want to be a top agent. You have to be if you want to sell as many homes as possible. You have to be ultra competitive. You got to hate to lose. So let's do this, guys. Write down these 7 traits on your paper. Okay, so I'm gonna list them off, and you're gonna rank yourself out of 10. Okay, so number 1 is morning routine. Number 2 is complacency. Number 3 is skill mastery. Number 4 is accountability. Number 5 is no, N-O. Number 6 is coachable, and number 7 is competitiveness. Now rank yourself out of 10. So write today's date, July 10th on the top, and then write December 31st, 2023 on another column, because a lot of you guys said you're going to focus on the next 6 months plan. We're halfway through the year now, 5.5 months left. You're going to focus on what you can control the next 5.5 months. So on column 1, July 10th, you're going to rank yourself on those 7 things out of 10, 10 being you're absolutely the best. I'm the most competitive person out there. You know, I'm the most accountable person out there. And then next to it, in December 31st, write, what do you want to be in the next 5.5 months? What would that number be? If your accountability is a 2 now, and you want to get it to a 5, write down 5. Next to it, what is one thing you will do to get that to December 31st number? And I'd love for you guys to share with me some of your things that you want to do. So I'm going to read them again. Morning routine, can always improve on that. I know that's a big one for me, is just really dialing into my morning routine, especially having 2 kids. It always changed. Mark knows what I'm talking about. They never get complacent. So complacency, I love that one. Commit to mastery of the basics. That is a really tough one, because as you get better in your business and stronger in your business and start to sell more homes, you tend to lack education. You tend to spend more time on focusing on your business and less on educating skills and mastering that, right? So that is a big one that most agents kind of forget about. 4, they're ultra accountable. Now, easiest way to get accountable is having an accountability partner. That's not your partner, your wife or your husband. Having someone outside of your organization, have an accountability partner, or have a coach. They know how to say no. And then lastly, they're coachable. And the last one is their competitiveness. So that's what I have for you guys this week. I really want to see you guys grow your business within that next 5.5 months, and really work on these 7 things, right? These are areas of business that if you just got 1 or 2 out of 10 better on, your business is going to change. Does that make sense, guys? Awesome.